Welcome back to the channel, folks, and to another battle report. Today we're going to be using good old King Tigers. First time on the channel in version 4. It's good to use these new things. I know there's a lot of people who will only see the limitations of these expensive tanks in the game, but we're actually going to use the formation. It's going to be an SS formation, but the full formation rather than just a support unit. And we like to try that in the game. It's not about us turning up with what we think is going to be the most competitive list, but trying to play with the lists that are there to help you guys decide yourself how you want to build your lists. Now, we did this before with the heavy tank hunter formation. Unfortunately, we just rolled it random for the mission and got the worst possible mission for Jagdpanthers to go in with the enemy arriving straight into the rear. So we are not going to play a mission which will prevent the King Tigers from playing to their strengths. We all know what their weaknesses are, but you're not going to play every single game against their weaknesses. We're going to play a fair fight kind of mission here against US armour so that they've got a good chance to develop their tactics during the game. Anyway, let's go over, have a look at the list, starting with the King Tigers.
So I'm using the German Bulge book this afternoon, and I've decided to go big and go for the SS Heavy Tank Battalion and try and see how the King Tigers do. So the unit itself, or the company itself, has got one in the HQ of one King Tiger. The first platoon is a unit of 2 King Tigers, and then they're backed up with a unit of 3 Panthers. So that's the tanks in that. And then to finish off that formation, I've gone for the Grenadiers. Now, I had 2 choices here. I could have gone for 10 stands on foot, or the smaller with the 3 half tracks to do some running about, since I've got quite a mobile list. So I've gone for the smaller unit on the half tracks.
Which is 10 points.
10 points, same number of points, but just see if they can be a bit more survivable running about in the half tracks, because I'm sure that's going to be the focus of any artillery on the table as well. So 10 points for the smaller unit on the half tracks or the bigger unit on foot. I've then got some artillery. So I've never used this before, but I've gone for the Wesps purely because I think they can also fire a smoke bombardment, which might be handy as well. And I've got an observer with them as well, so that's 10 points for the support unit there. And then I've decided to bring in some scout troop as well. Now, I did want to try and see if I could get in 2 smaller is it the SKKFZ 250s scout troops, and that would have been 6 little tanks running about, but we don't have the models for that. So for the 4 points, I've gone for 2 Pumas. So I could either have 2 smaller units, 2 points each, or going for the Pumas to see how they work as well. A bit more expensive in terms of if they die in an ambush, there's a lot of points here, but they do have an anti-tank 9 gun, so they can potentially do some damage as well. So it's a large tank, or a smaller tank force, backed up with some artillery and some recon.
Here is the US force for today's game. You might be familiar with it, you've probably seen me use it before, but this is kind of my American armour force. I don't have the time to expand it, so I'm kind of just sticking with what we've got here. So there's a core formation which is over on the left, and you can see a HQ of 2 late Shermans. One of them is a jumbo, and they're both 75s. Now, points wise, it's hard to stretch them out to 76s, and also I find that having 75 mils with direct fire smoke can be useful when you're up against static anti-tank weapons. And then behind them they've got a platoon of 4 76mm Shermans, lates once again, with a jumbo. So that's 1 76mm jumbo. So 2 jumbos in the list. Then a platoon of 3 Pershings. Speak for themselves really. Half decent armour, decent gun. I just think of them as being American Panthers. Then to round off the formation, 3 mortar half tracks, because they're quite cheap. It's another bombardment, another source of smoke. Now, to support all of that, we've got a battle weary armoured rifle platoon. This is a full platoon, so that's 5 half tracks, 6 bases infantry, 2 light machine guns, a mortar, 5 bazookas plus well, one of the infantry bases is a command. So that's a big chunky unit, but they're okay at rallying. It's a 4+ rally, but other motivations such as counter-attack, it's a 5+. A bit scary. Then we have got the armoured recon platoon, 2 greyhounds, mortar jeep, a machine gun jeep, and then the main artillery, which is 3 priests. So another template, another smoke bombardment. So there you go, folks. A bit of an all-rounder. It's not a big list at all. These late Shermans are quite expensive, especially when they've got veteran status. And remember, these guys have also got the in Yankee Ingenuity rule 2 as well, for the possibly for the infantry, but definitely for the tanks, which means they're good at blitzing, or rather they're better at blitzing and those other kind of tactical type moves than they otherwise might have been. Today's mission is Dust Up. We both chose attack and we ended up with this, which is a kind of a sort of, the name kind of describes it. It's a big swirling mission. You can see both sides have a deployment zone with the reserves coming on in the adjacent zone, and they're diagonally facing each other across a sort of 24-inch circle of no man's land. The objectives can be in quite exposed positions on this mission too, as you can see, because the deployment zone for the objectives goes right up to the front edges of the deployment zone for your forces. Now you have to roll off to see who is a nominal attacker. The nominal attacker will choose which corner they want to attack from. You have to decide when you're doing this where you're going to be attacking into and where your reserves and your opponent's reserves will be arriving. So there's a lot of decisions to be made at this point. It's not all about just taking a good defensive position, because you have to attack in this game to win. Neither side is going to win by holding on to an objective. The special rules are quite simple, though believe it or not we still managed to get them wrong during the game, folks. It's meeting engagement for the first player and delayed reserves for both players. We worked off an old copy of this that we had in a book, and I had the meeting engagement for both players. But that's not the case here, folks. It's just you're going to roll a dice once you've deployed to see who goes first, and its deployment, by the way, is alternate platoons for each side. And then whoever goes first is not going to be able to fire bombardments, call in planes, and all firing will be at the moving rate of fire. And then delayed reserves for both sides, so it can be a bit of a slow burner, this game, folks, as both sides start to build up, do their initial manoeuvring, see how things pan out, and see whether reserves are going to be needed to either win the game or try and hold on. Right, folks, we have deployed, so this is Dust Up, a nice sort of attacker versus attacker kind of mission. A bit of a slow burner. I think that's probably going to be the case because there's not a lot on the table at the start. Quickly go over the deployment zones. If you imagine there's a kind of circular no man's land in the middle there, and then you can see deployment zones skirt around it up to here. Mine, I'm on the side, coming like that and along to here. Now Brian, you rolled off to be the attacker and you chose this side to attack from.
Yep.
And you've stuck objective here?
Yeah, the idea being if I'm going to come in this corner here, it's probably the quickest route to that objective for me.
And I've pretty much done the same, it almost mirrors it over there. And then you've placed one here as in a defensive position.
Yeah, again, because it's on the hill and I know I was going to deploy on the hill, it means I'm next to the objective and covering up myself already.
And I've kind of, there might actually be a total mirror image, folks, but it's the same principles that are being applied. One of these is more exposed than the other for both of us, and we need to consider how we're going to defend it against the reserves that come on. That's the main trick. Now, we deployed one platoon at a time, and Brian's definitely got the initiative over me, so to speak, in terms of his hitting power and range. So, Brian, where did you put your units?
Yeah. So I've only got a couple of units on the table given the 60-40 split. So I've got my King Tiger HQ now, he's in the field here. So I'm giving some cover to the objective, and obviously within the field he's got a great arc of fire for anything coming around this table edge as well. So he's going to be holding there at the moment. And the platoon of 2 King Tigers on the hill, again with 40-inch range, they're seeing pretty much everything that's coming up the side of the table. Great. And I've stuck the observer there as well, just to have a good field of fire. I've put the West back here. I would typically put them behind the hill, but every time I go behind the hill, you always come around the side of me and kill them anyway. So I've stuck them a bit further back in this field here, to give them a bit more protection as well. And I made sure these were the careful as well, so they're harder to hit. Everything else is aggressive, so you're going to be able to hit them, not a problem, the big tanks, I don't mind you hitting those, but I didn't want you hitting my artillery as easy. So they're careful back in the field, but still got good line of sight. I've got 72-inch range, so they can see quite a lot of the table from where they are.
Right, so I've had to keep my neck stuck in. So, big artillery park here, my HQ beside them, because I was running out of space to hide behind this house. It's a real challenge. If I move out, I'm instantly going to be getting shot at with no defence for cover, because unless I'm peeking out behind the house, because they're up on the hill, so low cover is negated. The scouts are over here. I thought about doing a spearhead move, but I could maybe get some of my guys behind this house, but not all of them, and then 48-inch range, going, oh hello, look at those jeeps or whatever. So I've just kept them where they are. There's no need for them to go doing anything creative to begin with. I've also not put anything in a position where it can actually spot, which is a bit of a problem. Got to remember that with these guys, if they're not seeing themselves, they need the HQ or a unit which has got the observer characteristic. These guys do, so they were to get somewhere if they're going to spot for artillery. But this is a slow burner, this game, folks, or it can be a slow burner, so it might not make a huge difference if they're not firing off artillery in turn 1, and I'm keeping my neck in turn 1 because I don't like the look of 40-inch range anti-tank 17 or something mad like that. Right folks, we shall get everything tidied up in the way of the deployment markers and come back for turn 1. So the most important and least significant dice roll of the day is who is going to go first. I get a 3 and a 2, another high scoring game. US turn 1 movement, and there's not much happening, folks. I don't want to stick my neck out here against those King Tigers on the hill, so I'm really just manoeuvring my scouts so that, most importantly, I've got some line of sight for artillery bombardments in turn 2. So the Yanks are going first, and in this turn it's a main engagement for both players. So in this turn there's not going to be any artillery, so I'm just getting my spotters in position here and here to be looking up towards the German artillery, looking up towards a hill, maybe for some smoke. I'm not sticking my nose out because I'd have to move, and it's moving rate of fire whatever I do. So a very dull, boring turn 1 for the Yanks. So over to Brian for the Germans. German turn 1, and Brian wants to get himself into line of sight to get some shooting done. They're going to be difficult shots to hit because of cover and such likes, but he's not got any threat to his flank, so it's really just about getting his Tigers down from the hill and the other one in the town in a position to get some shots and try his luck. You know, these guys don't have any current threats to their flanks, so they may as well get rolling some dice against me.
So German turn 1 shooting, I've moved up here, so let's just try the King Tiger down the road at your scout, needing a 7.
Oh dear.
Oh dear.
Nearly.
Oh, alright, and I think I'm going to need 7s here again.
Yeah, because I've got to ground, long range, concealed. Oh my goodness.
Oh, come on, come on.
Didn't it hit me? Bloody
Oh
hell.
yes.
Right, so straight to firepower.
Straight to firepower.
Yeah, that's the way it goes.
1, oh,
Failed,
and then you get a
which is
firepower like that.
Quite often the way it goes too.
So, very simple movement, just move, dump my tanks to try and get some shots in, but only managed to get a bail on one of your Persians there. So that's a bit of a nightmare start. 7s and then get a bail, but starting to fire, starting to move forward.
Yeah, and importantly guys, it's been aggressive with the King Tigers. They've got a 48-inch range, but that doesn't mean you have to actually sit back at 48-inch.
Yeah, go in and take what you can.
US turn 2, and I've got a remount. It would be nice if this guy can get back in and get the hell out of dodge, and the rolls a 2. So he's going to have to rely on you getting another 7, Brian. But people see me hit me on 7, so I'm very worried. Shooting for the Yanks this turn is going to be the priests, and they're going to range in on that tank there, that Wesp there, using the scout that's peeking up the road. So normally, now the scout's veteran and they guys are veteran, that would be a 3 to range, and normally 4 because of the terrain, because they're in the field. And I get a 5, right? Okay. So it'll be 1, 2, 3, kind of as they're facing me. I got a 1, a 6, and the guy at the back a 6. So the one nearest you, Brian, and the one at the back.
This one here and this one here.
Yeah, your top armour is 0. My anti-tank is 3.
So I'm going to go for the one nearest me. The one at the back. 5.
So I need a 3 up. 3.
Oh,
so the one nearest you is away, which means re-roll hits for them. So that was quite useful, and that's going to be it for me for shooting, folks. So summary for the US turn 2. I just kept him put. I mean, he needs 7s to hit me. He can get 7s, but you know where they're going to go anyway. So I might as well just keep them there as a tempting target or a threat. And otherwise, I have just moved a couple of greyhounds behind that house. Not sure why. The reserves will come over there. They might be able to help them. And then my shooting went as well as I could reasonably have expected with 1 dead Wisp. German turn 2 movement, and Brian is still want to push on with his King Tigers. There's 2 objectives sitting there, one of them with nothing on it, and 2 big massive King Tiger tanks with that huge front armour and big guns just marching towards them. Now on the road he's thinking, can I keep pushing my company commander up towards the town, get more shots on, but there's really just some scouts up there. It's no real easy line of sight to the Persians, and I'll be rolling for reserves next turn. He might be in danger of getting flanked, and he's also got to remember his own objective. So in the end he decides he's going to move the King Tiger back towards the objective on the far left.
Shooting German turn 2 with the King Tigers, 1 shot each because they moved at your Persians. So needing 6s.
It's short range now.
Short range now. So the guy here with open turret. No, and the second guy. No, it's the 6s the other side here.
Right.
Oh dear. Right. And I'm going to try a bombardment as well with these guys. Just on the edge to try and get hold of your priest.
They can range. You can see here, which is enough to get 2 guys with the range.
I need a 4 for the first attempt to range in. No, second attempt. Yep.
Right, so you need to re-roll successful, so just roll 2 dice.
Yeah.
These guys are aggressive, so you just need 4s.
4s or 3s?
4s. It would normally be 3, but second attempt.
Yeah.
Oh,
nothing.
2 and a 1, and then next guy.
Oh, 6 and a 3.
6 and a 3. So
that's
no,
nothing.
No,
nothing. Because 2 dice. But that's it. Range down now. Finished it. That's all shooting I can do. So German turn 2, just continue to be aggressive with the 2 King Tigers. Nothing can really kill them, so move up to short range to try and kill the Persians unsuccessfully. Take another King Tiger back just to protect this corner of the table, and try the bombardment unsuccessfully, but range down and the priests. End of German turn 2. Starting step for the American turn 3. So we've got a remount to do. 3 ain't going to do it. I'll double check that, but I don't think so. And then reserves. I don't have to double check that. That's a nice roll. US turn 3 movement. I'm putting my greyhounds out towards that wood. I'm kind of spying the objective on the hill on the far side and thinking that might be a possibility. You can see the little MG jeeps moved up, the mortar jeep is staying put for calling in bombardments. And then for my tanks, I am
a little bit exposed where I am. The Tigers, King Tigers, are in short range now, so I'm going to start moving everything around behind the woods, just sort of leapfrogging, moving the HQ and then moving the Persians, leaving the bailed out one unfortunately, but keeping myself more out of line of sight and at the same time working towards covering both objectives. Yank turn 3 shooting isn't going to be much. It's going to be repeating that artillery, which is the west, this sort of the priests against the west over in the field. So there's 2 under the template, so the one nearest me and then the one furthest away, so the one nearest me's hit. Yikes. And oh my goodness, okay. Another one. Right. And I roll 2, bailed. And that's going to be it for shooting, folks, because I cannot hurt the King Tigers. Turn somebody for the Yanks then. Get the horrible feeling that I simply can't stop the King Tigers and they can just keep rolling forward. And then I would have to survive a turn rushing out at him to potentially get around the side. So it's going to get very, very sticky, I fear. I need the reserves to come on, give me one mobile platoon which can stand a better chance of getting around the side, and the infantry to back me up. So, over to Brian for his turn 3, and he'll be rolling for reserves as well, and we'll see if he can keep on pushing aggressively but watching out for his flanks. Start step will be getting him back in. If he fails, it will be a last stand, but they are fearless.
Yes, they are. So I need to get, what, a 3 here to get back in.
But see, start step.
So German turn 3 starting step, I've got to try and get this gun back in. So I've got the fearless a 3, doesn't make it.
You can't roll above a 1. And then the last stand for the unit.
Last stand, and again the fearless, hopefully. There it goes. So there we go, 1s and 2s, they're away.
It's okay, the King Tigers will do it all for you anyway. And then 1 dice for reserves.
Alright, I'll use the one that keeps rolling 1 and 3s, doing alright, 1 and 2s. And gets a 2.
I guess a 2, so it's consistent. German turn 3, and Brian's still looking to keep the pressure on my objectives here, though he is getting worried about the hill in the centre. He's just got an observer and an independent team, and we were talking about can that hold an objective, and it seems it can't. But he's going to keep pushing on. He's got some real pressure here, and as you can see, he's getting very, very close to the objective, which means I have to come out and get him, and I might be coming out and get him into the teeth of 2 King Tigers and possibly even his reserves if they arrive, so he's in a good position here.
It's a German shooting 3, 1 shot each, needing 6s. So this guy at your bailed out Persian.
It's a 6 at short range, but he's concealed, got on the ground.
So, oops, missed the tray, got a 2, so they love getting 2s. And again, long range, needing 6s because they're concealed as well at long range. 4. So the King Tigers are great, but they can't shoot anything. So in the German turn 3, still being aggressive with these tanks here, moving round towards his objective to force you to come out and start taking me on. But again, they're not killing anything, so that's a bit of a disappointment this side. Nothing happening on this side of the table, the tank's still holding that objective across there.
Also, but don't forget the Wefts have
gone. The Wefts have gone. And I was going to move the observer across to give some support and fire, but then I would have left this objective open for your fast guys coming down the middle, so they're going to have to just sit there and try and hold the objective.
American turn 4, so I've got Persian to get back in. Oh, roll above a 3 Persian, and then 2 dice for reserves. I get 1, so it'll at least hot things up over that side, but I have to decide what the hell I'm going to do over here, folks. He's 1 turn away from taking that objective, so I'm thinking suicide missions. Let's see what happens. US turn 4, and my reserves are arriving, as you can see. Now I'm bringing on the infantry first of all. There's a lot more of them in numerical terms compared to the tanks, and they're less vulnerable perhaps to being wiped out by that King Tiger, and they may cause the King Tiger a few problems with bazookas. Bring them on first, and then the tanks definitely arriving next turn to support them. That's my thoughts. And then this objective here, my thoughts are I'm going to have to just charge up, get my tanks that are operational right beside it, and then hope to bring in a smoke barrage to at least try and keep me alive for a turn, whilst possibly putting pressure on the other objective held by the single King Tiger. So my shooting, these guys could fire but to no effect. Well, actually they could potentially put smoke markers down, but what I'm going to do is start off with a smoke barrage. These guys are going to try and put a smoke barrage across here. So they are veterans, so I will need 3s. That'll do it. So, right, okay, there we go. Smoke barrage across there, which means they're not going to be shooting. I can still be shot here, but Brian's going to have to move forward to be able to do it. In fact, I'm going to push it a bit further back. Would have been wiser to keep them a bit further back. I didn't have to be that close, but I do want to go sweeping in. So, smoke barrage, that's all it's going to be. The priests really don't have anything that they can shoot at the moment, so that's going to be it for shooting. So summary for Yank turn 4. In terms of motivation, that guy's still not back in, which is a pity because he's quite a big hitter for me. But I've got reserves. I know I'm getting reserves next turn, so I've decided to bring on my infantry first, and I put them in a position where the King Tiger will have to move to be able to get shots on them. And then these guys have got to move up to protect this objective, and there's every chance of there being Panther tanks coming on next turn. Actually, you know, I could have actually used them to put smoke down here as well to give me some more protection. That would have been the wise thing to do actually. But they might not turn up next turn, they might get lucky. Doubt it. And then these guys here are heading towards that objective, and Brian's checked his observer can't hold it. So there's a little bit of a race going on there, as well as a bit of a head-to-head going on here. So what's happening in terms of reserves next turn for Brian is going to be quite important.
My starting step for German turn 4 is rolling for reserves. I've got 2 dice. I need to get reserves on or I'm in big trouble. And I'm in big trouble.
Now you're going to have to think
I'm
about...
going to kill these guys coming on at me.
Yeah, kill them and then get over towards that objective, which will take a bit of pressure off me, potentially. German movement, turn 4, is all about getting cover for the hill. So Brian's decided to take his platoon off to King Tigers and move towards the hill so that he can get as much shots as possible on the greyhounds. And then, if required, still be able to hold the hill if the greyhounds survive. He's got to move in such a way that he's protecting his open flanks against me, because I'm quite far up on that flank, so he's using the church as cover.
So, German shooting 2, because they've done a tactical cross country, they can't shoot.
A dash, yeah.
A dash, sorry, so I've just really got to take 2 shots with my...
Right, so short range, but I will still be going to ground because double check they are scouts. Hold on a minute. I'm pretty sure.
I'm sure they're scouts, yeah.
But I might as well be sure they are. Yeah. So short range. Yeah. 6s. Yep. Oh, that'll do. Right, so I'm going to try and mistaken target onto the poor wee Jeep, right? And I get a 2, so which one? You going for the front one? I take
front one, yeah.
So firepower. He's a goner. Is that it for shooting?
Yeah, that's all for shooting. There's nothing else left on the table that can shoot. So turn 4 summary, these guys have had to move back towards the objective. I can't believe my Tigers are running away, but they're running away and going back to this objective. And I managed to take out 1 scout with the Tiger 2, so...
If you got your reserves on, the reserves could have headed towards that objective.
This, yeah, but nothing there. So all this firepower and I've killed 1 scout.
It's not been the most brutal game so far, folks, but the reserves are going to start arriving 100% from next turn, so it will definitely start to get mixed up.
Yeah.
Turn 5 for the Yanks, starting step. Is he going to get back in? Oh, now the King Tigers are running away, feels brave.
It goes in.
He gets in. And my one final reserve will definitely arrive this turn and the smoke will be gone. US turn 5 movement. So I'm placing my Sherman 76 platoon that's coming on from reserve in a position to hit that exposed turret side for the King Tiger. The infantry are debussing and moving up, ready to take advantage of any potential bales. They're not going to be able to assault this turn, but they will at least be able to keep pressure on the King Tiger, and if it gets bailed and stays bailed, they can go in and deal with it. My scouts have decided to hide. I would rather keep them in the game than just do some kind of crazy gesture at this moment. Now over by the ruined town, my armour is... I want to position myself so that I'm ready for reserves potentially arriving next turn. It's very likely that they will, and also potentially turning the flanks of the King Tigers who are moving towards the hill. So I'm kind of sticking my neck out a bit, wanting to use cover as much as possible. One thing I didn't do, folks, during movement, I want to do a follow me with these guys over here. So they get a 4, which isn't enough, so only the commander is going to move. But he's in the house. So shooting, it's really only going to be these Shermans that have come on, the 76s. So there's lots of potential things here with the facing of the tank and everything. I can get side armour, but only on the turret. Now the short range, so he's aggressive and needs 3s, 4 concealment, 5 for stabilisers. So I get 3 hits, but they've now got to see if they hit the turret or the hull. So I'm going to roll 3 dice, and a 1, 2 is 3, it's the hull, a 4, 5, 6 the turret. Well, 2 in the turret. So your side armour is 8, my eye tank is 12, so 2 saves.
And you're in short range, aren't you?
Yeah.
So the first save, 8 plus 1, no. That's 6, so 1 potential.
It's a bail. So he's not dead, and he's got a crazy motivation, so he should be back in next turn. But that was quite lucky even to get that, because once again Brian's rolling bloody 1s. Summary for American turn 5. So the last reserves have arrived, as you can see, and I've got a big push on with infantry, aiming for that house. His tank cannot kick me out of a house, so if I get into it, I'm within 4 inches of the objective. That's my idea. And as you can see, my scouts are just getting the hell out of line of sight just now and keeping options open. These guys are looking for a flanking position with some good cover here, but also worried about the reserves coming straight on here as well. So I didn't get that King Tiger. Obviously if I'd have got that, it would have probably ended the game, which isn't necessarily very entertaining anyway. But Brian's really got to now start doing things to get the initiative back. That's the trick. But I reckon he's going to get back in next turn, and we'll see what he does to those 76s.
So now my starting step for step 5, so I've got to try and get him back in again. I'm going to roll through this, got to re-roll because the commander anyway, and it's a 2 up to get back in being the King Tiger, and he's back in.
See, now that he only needs a 2, he's rolling above a 1.
Okay, so he's back in again, and I've got 3 dice now for reserves, so I've got 1 automatic, hopefully I get all 3 on, because I need all 3 on to actually get this game up and running again. So 1 on.
Movement for the Germans in turn 5. Brian has got to consider, does he go defensive or offensive? He's got 1 single tank down by the left hand side to deal with all those Americans, but he's also potentially got an opportunity to keep the pressure on me. So he's decided to be aggressive, which is good to see. This is a kind of game where it can easily just spiral down into a boring draw as both sides just hold on to what they've got. But anyway, Brian is bringing his reserve platoon on, the Panthers. So he's got shots into my front, and then he's moving his King Tigers. It's a bit tight for space, but we're quite happy that he can do it. Moving his King Tigers in to get shots down the open road where I've not got any cover at all. Ultimately, Brian did decide to be a little bit cautious, and he moved one of the King Tigers onto the hill to hold the objective just in case, but with guaranteed reserves next turn there was no immediate threat to the objective, so I think he could have kept both the King Tigers together to help finish off my tanks.
So German turn 5 is going for shooting now, so I've got to try and see if I can get some shots in at you, Sherman. So what are you?
I am careful, you'll need 4s.
Careful, is that short range?
Yep.
Yeah, so 4s, 2 shots. Here we go, come on.
Right.
1.
Now then, Jumbo. Let me think. Your anti-tank is?
I'll just double check it out.
16?
16 I think it is.
So that's what the Jumbo's there for. I might as well. I'll see if I can put it on the Jumbo. I get a 4.
17.
17, right. I roll a 4, so chance to kill the Jumbo.
So 3 plus 6, Jumbo away.
And Jumbo. Right.
Right, so I'm going to get some machine gun shots, and I've moved the observer, so he's got 3 machine gun shots at your jeep.
Okay, so you'll be looking for 6s again because I'm still going to ground and I'm concealed by the house.
1.
Right, okay. Okay, it's got to go in a jeep because I cannot. You can't see the greyhound. So who are you going for, the MG or the mortar jeep?
MG.
I'm going to try and put it onto the mortar, and I do, and he passes it safe.
Right, and because I've got to fire it as much as I can, he's going to have to just take a pot shot at your infantry.
Yeah.
Just try and take one guy out. You can't see any tanks or anything.
No, you might as well try and get the commander in the house.
In fact, he said, yeah, you got the guy in the house, haven't you? So let's just go for it.
Try it. It's
1 dice hitting you on.
He's 6. He's 1 harder to hit, but
Oops. 5, no.
No. But blow me at the house because that was my whole idea of going in there.
So now the important one.
Right, where do you want to start here?
This one here.
Right,
so
okay.
Try and
and
take
you're
a side shot at your Jumbo.
going for the Jumbo. Okay, so you need a 4.
4. Come on, 1 shot. 4. Come on. 5.
Right. So I'm going to try and put it on the 75mm Sherman beside him. I don't, so firepower.
Go on.
Is it gonna?
Jumbo's gone up.
Right, and then you do these separately. 1 dice against that and 2 dice against that.
So I'll go with the 1 dice here against your Persian. Then hit you on
4 5s.
5s.
Yep. Oh dear.
So that's that one. And I've got 2 hitting you here on...
Same again.
1.
1 each. So 1 guy. Oh well. 2 firepowers, do them separately.
So this guy here first. 1, no. This guy here, 4.
So he's away. I'll get smoke markers down these in a minute.
Anyway, he's bailed, and because he's out of command, is he?
Well, we'll come to the starting step here.
So.
So that's the end of that shooting.
Can I shoot and scoot?
No.
No, because I didn't feel practical.
He can shoot and scoot if you wish.
I just wonder if it's worthwhile putting them in here.
Roll a dice, because I mean if you pass it you can...
You make a decision. 1. No,
Decision made.
Decision made. So quite an eventful turn for myself there. Again, I wanted to be aggressive. I could have gone across and support this guy. I've left him on his own, and he's managed to take out a Jumbo. So that's good across here. Across here, this is where the damage was done, and I managed to get a side shot and blow up the Jumbo with the King Tiger, and I managed to bail and kill a Persian. So some quite good shooting now that the big guns are actually on, and managed to roll some dice.
Okay, starting step for the Yank turn 6. So does he get back in? Company command's there to help him out. He does. So does he stay? Company commander there to help. That's slight shining on that, he does. So they're still in the game, but they've got a lot to deal with. US turn 6 movement. So the infantry, they're going to do their job, which is pile up towards that single tank. They're going to struggle to kill it in assault, but they're going to give it a go. They're going to get themselves in assault position with all the bazookas up front, with light machine guns and another couple of bases occupying the house, which is more difficult for a tank to get them out of, unless of course they run away. And then the tanks that I've got to support them, they are going to move behind the house, the survivors, so they can get out of line of sight from that nasty King Tiger's main gun. I've decided it's time for the scouts to stick their neck out once again, trying to keep a bit of pressure on that objective on the hill and maybe pin a unit or two there. Over by the town, things are starting to get a bit scary for me. I've got an opportunity for a flank shot on a King Tiger, so I'm going to move one Pershing to get that shot. The company HQ is going to dash out of dodge, get around the back of a wood to keep him alive in case I need to just keep this side of the board alive whilst I try and capture the objective on the other side. And then the last Pershing, it is going to head off round the side of the town where it can get some shots onto the advancing Panthers. Pershing behind the church, one shot, gets a 6.
Yikes.
So anti-tank 14 against, side armour 8.
So best I can do is a bail. I got a 6. I guess 3.
But I've then got to pass 5 power and I don't, you're bailed. And you're, what's that, 2 up motivation, yeah. So that could have gone better. The other Persian is going to try a long range shot at one of those two there. 6 will do it. So your armour got to 11 against 14. That bounces.
15 bounces.
Now over here there's actually no point in doing any shooting because I can't hurt. So we're just going to go straight into the assault. Right? So you'll have 4 lots of defensive fire.
So I can't stop you. Hit you on because you're aggressive, are you?
No.
Reluctant. 4s.
Right, on you go.
1.
Okay, so you want to hit a zook.
I want to hit a zook.
6. So there's going to be 5 zooks. These 5s to hit you. 1.
So against the side armour, isn't it?
Yeah. 10 against your 8.
5.
Right, so you've got to motivate to counter attack.
Yep.
Right, so you can clobber me back.
So how many dice did I take? 1.
1.
4.
4 will do it, so I'm going to take away the platoon command, right, instead of a zook. Because you're in contact with more than one base,
you can decide which ones go.
You decide, yeah. But I've got to get a 5 up to stay in, and I don't, so I've got to break off. So I'm not closer than 6. Okay, so that means they have got to, the zooks and that have to be out with 6. And you can consolidate if you want, but you probably just want to sit there. You could move up.
Well, I was thinking because we've got to be within 6 inches.
4.
4. Because I would love to be, and I can't, it's not going to work, sitting here so you can't get the side on me. So I wonder if I'm better sitting here because you can't get side shots on me.
That'll make it harder for my Shermans to get up that road and to get side shots, yeah.
So with 4, if you do it in a straight line it makes you in, but you do it from...
Well, you've got about 3 inches to... So you'd be like that. Just in, which...
You're still going to get side shots coming up.
Only if I was to pass a 3 up blitz. And to be honest, if you went the other way it would be the same. So is that you done consolidation?
Yeah, if that's where he's got to sit, yep.
Right. US turn 6. So, well, I went for it over there, folks, but these guys, they're reluctant when it comes to assaulting. If they stayed in, with all those zooks, there's a chance I could have got him. As it is, he's quite comfortable over there, the commander. Over here, this was more important. The failed firepower means him and a 2-up, he's going to get back in. He's going to shoot him dead. If he'd have died, he would have been on a last stand, and maybe he could have survived incoming fire from these, so it doesn't look good there. Now you noticed I ran him away because I thought he's anti-tank 10. He's not going to do anything to those guys over there. I might as well keep him, try and keep him in the game. Over here, these guys still got the potential of running up that road and doing something to the Tiger. So it's still very much a race, but I think the Germans have got the upper hand with very little likelihood of their tanks dying in numbers and mine still pretty much dying in numbers.
Yeah, so my starting step then, I'm going to try and get this guy back in again. So here's hoping the dice tree's in here, so I'll just roll it here. He's back in. So that's good, he's no longer bailed out. And I'm going to roll 4 dice.
4 dice.
4 dice now for reserves. So here we go, let's get my reserves on if I can. Yes, the 2 don't coming on.
German turn 6 movement, so Brian's got to figure out what to do with his reserves, and he's decided to get them as quick as possible over towards his endangered objective, whilst on the way providing cover for the objective on the hill. So he's going to be smashing my poor scouts as they've stuck their necks out too far. Then on the other side of the table, he's got to think about finishing off my tanks. So the King Tiger is going to rejoin the fight over there, and then the Panthers are going to manoeuvre so that he can get a few more shots in line of sight on my Persian. As it is, only one can actually see me because of the houses and the way that they are lined up close to each other. Brian's also thinking about the best position for his company HQ to protect his flanks from my armour that's getting pretty close. So he can't completely protect himself next turn, but he can force me to have a successful blitz before I can even get around the side.
Right, so I'm now doing my shooting, so I'll position myself to try and get some shots in. So I'm going to do machine guns from the King Tiger. So he's got 4 machine guns at your infantry.
Okay, you can aim at the guys down the road because they're in the open.
Yeah, they're in the open, so 4 shots, needing 4s.
Right, 4 now.
4 hits.
Let me see, I've got 2 are inside the house. I'll try mistaken target. So 1's going inside the house and 3 on the road. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So 1 in the road is dead, and then in the house, chance to get him and a 6 up. No.
And I've moved up this guy as well to try and get some shots. I think he's got 3 shots.
3 dice, yeah.
3 dice again, hitting your infantry when I can.
Right, you get 2, so I'll try mistaken target into the house. Yep, and yep, so first guy, 1's failed, so
3, no.
Right, okay, so he's fine. Right, that's 5 hits so far, but we'll have to check. I pinned anyway. Right, so
let's just see
shooting up the jeeps.
if the jeeps will get any damage through the Puma. So I've got.
It's best just to use the MGs.
You think so?
Well, whatever you hit me with, I'm a 4-up safe, regardless.
Right,
so you want to use as many dice as possible.
3 shots with the Pumas. So it's 6 dice then. 2 Pumas.
Right, you've got 1 each. So MG gets a 3, mortar gets a 1, so they're kaput.
Right, now across to the big one.
Right, so you want to clobber him
3 dice.
Oh, actually, one of them you have to roll separate because. Why is that? Because he started his turn out of command, so.
He's hitting you in the back as well, so.
It doesn't matter what you hit me.
Going to kill you. So 2 dice with this guy. 1 dice with this guy, sorry.
Right, so he'll need a 5.
5. Nope.
And another guy needs 4s.
5.
Right,
1
5 power.
just. 6 dead.
So you just have to hit with these guys and you're pretty much settled. Right, and then you've got
these guys here. So one didn't move, so he's got 2 dice. And 2 moves, that's 4 dice in total.
Right, now let me see, hold on a minute. So, check the ranges. I think the one that didn't move will be long range, but the ones that did move might be in short now.
So, he's in short.
He's in short.
And 16 from here.
He's long, because I was long range shooting you. Right, so
2 at long range.
Right, needing 6s. Oops. No.
No, that's the other side of the dice. And then 2 at short range. So do you want to roll that again?
Oh no. No, you missed.
Worth a try. 2 at short range.
5s.
5s. 1.
1 hit. 5. That's going to be a potential bail.
Oops. 1. Nothing.
But he'll be very much last standing.
That's all the shooting I think I've got, because this guy can't shoot anything.
Any shooting and scooting?
Shooting and scooting. So, can anyone shoot and scoot?
Well, he can, if you want to do something with him. Even just to
get him further up.
Facing.
Yeah.
Well, roll dice.
Roll dice, so you want to come up further. One. No, it doesn't anyway. They can't.
No.
He can.
Well, he can, but I don't think you want to. You want to keep your commander within 4 inches.
Yeah. Right, that's it. So, quite a good step this time for me, this turn. So basically just going out and try to kill as much as I can. I managed to get some machine gun shots in. I think I got 5 hits but nothing killed up the top
there.
There's
at least one base
dead. Cross here, managed to get rid of the jeeps. Brilliant, that was the objective here. So what I really wanted to do here was hold this objective with something that could actually hold it. Now we can move the Pumas up to give some support. But this is the bit that really was important. I had to kill this Persian. Didn't manage to kill the other Persian, but hopefully he's going to run away now, and then I can consolidate up onto that objective. Let you come and get me with your paper half-tracks.
Motivations. First of all, this geezer. 4, he stays. Right. Do the infantry on pin on the far side. 4 they do, because they rally on a 4 up, so that's good. That's it for motivations, because they're either feeling quite happy or dead. We forgot about this guy. He's very much on the last stand. And he's very much saying, I've had enough of this King Tigers and everything here. US turn 7, so I have to keep pushing on towards that objective before the reserves arrive, because they'll be there very soon and there'll be lots of MG fire coming my way. I managed to pass a blitz. These guys have got the Yankee ingenuity, but they managed to pass the blitz, but only one tank could get past the flank. That would have to be enough. And then I've got lots of infantry up beside the tanks to support them. There's soon going to be a hell of a lot of MG fire supporting that King Tiger, so it's probably now or never. Now my company HQ, I'm moving them out but watching line of sight as much as possible here, so I've got some support for that last surviving Pershing. Right, so turn 7 we think, folks. So I'm going to start over here. He is going to take 2 shots, short range. Oops, 5 and a 5. That's 2 hits. Now I can see 2 of them, one's at short, one's at long. So the short range will mean 10 against 14 and the long 11.
So the short and the 11. So potential kill, potential bail.
So the guy in short range is dead, the guy at long range is bailed. My company HQ tank is going to put 2 smoke rounds into the bailed guy. I don't think that necessarily is not bad. 3 normally, 4 range, 5 concealment, 6 for stabilisers. Right, so that'll be that there. And then over here, so the important one I suppose is this guy, peeking round the corner. 2 shots with stabilisers. Looking for 4s. Just the 1. So, anti-tank 12 against just side armour 8.
8. Come on.
Rolls of 2.
Rolls of 2. So this could be a game over.
Bailed again! I've bailed 3. No, you're going to die. Because I'm going to be doing an assault. Anyway.
Assault on the bailed out tank.
Yeah. Just for a laugh, these guys, 36-inch range and line of sight over to him. So 3's normally 4 range, 5 concealment, 6 for... Well, you'd have preferred me rolling that earlier. So a couple of bazookas are going to go for your observer, right? I get a 3 and a 1, that's not going to hit you, right? Because there's still going to be some defensive fire. It's not going to stop it though.
It's not going to stop it because I can only get 3 shots.
So these guys will be able to run in and you won't be able to counter attack, and that will be it. Which was a bit of a surprise to me in the end. I thought he was going to stick around forever. There you go, folks. We'll go for a recap of the turn and a recap of the game. So a recap of that turn, folks. Over here, I thought, just leave him. He'll stay or he'll run away. Bring him up into command distance to try and help him stay. Move these guys up to protect the objective. Over there, just keep pushing up. I managed to get 1 tank behind the front with a successful blitz. The infantry moving up to assault, and as you saw, once again, that's 3 times I got past the side and 3 times Brian rolled shitty saves, but I rolled shitty firepowers, but my infantry were close enough there to the tanks to make all the difference to get that assault in, and that ended it. So we'll go over to a recap. So folks, I've had a wee chat. Brian, first of all, the list, and then any thoughts on the game?
Yeah, so first I've used for a long time the King Tigers, and I thought it was a very small list, which probably left me with lots of things to try and think about. I think the King Tigers are probably going to be better as a support unit to a bigger army, because I started the game there with very little on the table and took 3 turns before anything ever approached. I know at the beginning of the round I said I'm going to put these not behind the hill because they'll get killed if they're behind the hill. Stuck them in the field and they got killed. So if they'd survived, I think I would be able to if they were here holding that objective, I would have been able to push my King Tigers up here quicker, because you had nothing to counteract that attack on that. And because this one was zigzagging back and forth, it gave you time to consolidate on that.
Yeah,
if I'd gone straight for it.
And you see what happened once you actually got line of sight on me. He started smashing stuff.
So it's very hard with such a small list, because there was very little on the table with a 60-40 split. I do like the King Tiger. I'm going to certainly play them again, but I think I'm going to try them as a support unit. Maybe 2, maybe 3 tanks, depends how much points I'm going to get on a bigger list, because I think I need more on the table to help me survive longer. This was just annoying down here. Just that side shot, and again, it's the importance of having infantry to back up the tank, because you build out tank, you automatically kill it. It just took so long to get anything on here to the objective. Yeah,
if your reserves had come on quicker, it would have made a difference. You could have got infantry over, let's say, infantry to support there, but even the Pumas with extra firepower, counter fire, and so on, maybe. But my tanks maybe would have killed the Pumas. A lot of infantry is probably better, especially fearless ones.
Yeah, I wonder if it would have been better having the 2 tanks sitting on this objective, more to kill, and having the commander coming up here waiting for these other support coming in.
Yeah, waiting for the Panthers.
Panthers to come in, and maybe that would be a better tactic, because killing 2 Tigers is harder than killing 1.
Yeah, especially when there's only 476s coming on there.
Yeah, so maybe in hindsight it would have been better having the 2 sitting there.
Yep, play the longer game a bit.
Yeah.
But that's the thing about this list as well, is you have to complete the list of the HQ and the platoon of, let's say 2, that's the minimum. You have to take Panthers.
Yeah.
You can't take a horde of cheap Panzer IVs. I think it's got to be Panthers. I'll double check the list, but that makes it more of an elite kind of list in terms of the points, and therefore trickier to use, especially as they're veteran. I got quite a lot of hits on your King Tigers, because they are aggressive, and then your saving throws weren't any good. but my firepower weren't any good. But the fact they can get hit quite a lot if you can get around the side of them. So you don't have that many of them to allow that to happen. So it's a tricky one.
Holding two objectives with basically 3 units on the table to start with was always going to be a problem.
Yeah. Yeah, I honestly thought it was a goner though. Your initial attack, I thought, what am I going to do to stop? So I had to come out behind a smoke screen with another smoke screen lined up if needed and hope to get around the side of you and get some hits because you're aggressive. That was my only hope because they were just solid lumps, just moving up. Didn't kill anything, but I couldn't do anything to you.
Yeah.
And then when they did hit, they killed.
Because what you don't want to do is just sit back with a 40-inch range sniper. I mean, boring game sitting there just sniping at you.
Yeah. And you can't win this game by doing that because you need to take an objective.
Take an objective. So I think I've done the right thing going for it. This guy zigzag back and forth was an issue. I think I would definitely have swapped that around. 2 on that objective, 1 here to then hold the objective until he can start rushing up when he's needed. And yeah, okay, stick behind the hill. What's the hills for? Stick the artillery behind, not in the field.
There you go, folks. That's us. Another game under the belt. The King Tigers been given a good run out. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. It's hot, by the way. This is like, you know, like climate change, hottest temperature ever type thing. And somebody outside has decided to clean their car and blast their stereo really loud, so we had to shut the windows. So we're quite glad it wasn't a long game. Anyway, thanks for the game, Brian.
Yeah, thanks. I enjoyed it, even though I got beat again. I did enjoy it, and it's lots to learn from.
It was really...
It was touch and go. It could have gone the other way.
It was a tricky list to use.
Yeah.
But hopefully it's an informative game for everybody that's watching it and has their own ideas on King Tigers and those kind of lists. But thanks for watching, folks. Thanks to all the subscribers out there. And as always, if you'd like to subscribe, please do so to help us build the channel and bring Flames of War to other people who enjoy the game. And if you hit the bell button, we'll definitely see you guys on the next one.